Hi, everyone. My name is Ian Breen. So, Big Brothers have a lot to offer. Advice on how to speak to girls, exposure to new films and movies, and also birth certificates that are suitable for borrowing to get fake IDs. So, my brother is about 3 years older than I am, which means when I was 19, he was 22. Room to spare. It's the summer before my sophomore year of college, and I'm about to head back, and I'm really excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. My friends and I are going to live in an 8-person apartment, and it's just going to be great. And we're hoping to maybe get into some of the bars in Boston, which we've never been able to do as freshmen. It's sort of beyond our reach. Most college students have fake IDs in Boston, but they're kind of Canal Street garbage, and they don't fool anybody. So my friend John, who's also from New Jersey, tells me, I got a better way. He says, some friends of mine from high school have gone to this sleepy little outpost DMV up in northern Jersey where he's from. He said, there's only 2 windows, old people working there, they never ask you any questions, you're in and out in 20 minutes, piece of cake. He said, if I had an older brother, I would definitely do this. And you're a fool if you don't. So I said, all right, I'm gonna go for it. And so 2 days before my loving, trusting parents are supposed to drive me back to college, I head up to this DMV in their car, and I'm psyching myself up the whole way because I normally wouldn't do this kind of thing. I'm not this kind of person, so I'm just kind of like grilling myself up to it. I get there, and it's closed on Fridays and weekends. So I could kill John, but I know if I don't do this now, I'll never do it. I'll never get the nerve up again. So I get back in the Parkway, fly down to the DMV nearest our house, which I learned later is the largest DMV. It's the main DMV in the state. 30 desks, definitely not sleepy. So as a quick aside, I'll tell you about my summer job. I worked at a beach club, and I was what's called a porch boy, which is like a glorified gopher. You get the members chaise lounges, you put up umbrellas, you bust their tables, all this kind of stuff. And there's also a bar at the club, and I'm friendly with the bartenders because my older brother worked there and they're about his age. And these guys are pretty cool. At an evening function, if a member sends back a drink or they make one wrong, they'd kind of give you it on the sly. And they also tell me that the 2 head bartenders, these crusty old guys who have been there forever, barely even keep a back of the envelope inventory for the bar. So as a consequence, bottles are flying off these shelves like they have wings. So many, in fact, that these guys actually throw a couple my way. They have so many. And so by the end of the summer, I've got about a dozen bottles of rum, vodka, whatever, padded in 2 gym bags hidden in my parents' basement. The plan is I'm going to go up to the sleepy DMV, get my piece of cake ID, and give one of these bags to John. We'll both take one to Boston, divide and conquer, easy. So I go into this DMV, and immediately I'm nervous. I'm seeing how big this is. I'm thinking, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I get my nerve up. I walk to the counter, and I give my brother's birth certificate, trying to look confident. And the man says to me, okay, sounds good. He types on his keyboard. I asked for a boating license because if you ask for a real license, they give you a duplicate, which everyone knows is a red flag to bouncers. But of course, it's probably a red flag at the DMV when you ask for a boating license. But I'm too stupid to know this, so I go ahead. The guy says, sure, no problem, Mr. Breen. Oh, by the way, have you had any moving violations recently? And I say, no. And I'm thinking, what the hell? So he says, okay, no problem. It'll just be a few minutes. Go back and take a seat. I go down to the back to the waiting room, and I'm starting to panic. I'm thinking, that was not a normal question. Why did he ask that? This can't be routine. And I'm thinking, I should just get up and get out of here. But I tell myself, be tough, relax, stick it out. It's going to be worth it. So I'm sitting there. About a minute later, I feel his hand on my arm. I look up, and there's a giant cop standing next to me. He looks at me in the eyes, and he goes, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. So he was actually pretty cool. He handcuffed me in front so I didn't have to have him in back in the squad car and it would hurt. He takes me to the station, he puts me in a room, tells me to sit tight. A couple minutes later, I look up, someone calls my name. It's my uncle, who is an FBI agent. He comes over and tells me, look, I talked to the cops to try to get them to drop this, but you've already been booked. It's too late. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to follow you home from the DMV, so if you get pulled over and your license is confiscated, you won't go to jail twice in one day. Of course, I don't want him to do this, but there's nothing I can say to dissuade him. So I'm driving home. I'm freaking out. All I can think about is this bag in my car. What am I going to do? Because, of course, the bag is still in my car. I never gave it to my friend. So we get home. I pull over, and I roll down my window. I tell him, I'm freaking out. I got to drive around the block and take some deep breaths. I'm hoping he doesn't say, I'll follow you. He doesn't say, he says, I'll meet you there. So thank God. I drive around this neighborhood frantically looking for a place to ditch this bag. I don't want to just like leave it on the side of the road because if someone sees me and turns me in, I'll get caught. Plus, I still want the alcohol. So I finally find this little hill. I slide the bag down the hill, kind of cover it with some leaves, and I go home to take my lumps. My uncle says, see ya, good luck. My parents, of course, rip me a new one. What is wrong with you? How stupid are you? What were you thinking? And I just sit there with my tail between my legs because I am stupid. I have no excuse. It's totally stupid. Finally, they finish with me. They send me to my room, and I quietly call John, and I tell him this story. And there's kind of like a lot of shocked silence on his end, and to his credit, not that much laughter. And I say, look, if we still want this booze, you got to come get it because there is no way I'm putting this in my parents' car on Sunday. I'm not going to get in trouble twice. And he does. He comes down the next day and takes the bag back to college. No incident, no problem. And so I lost my license for 6 months, but that didn't hurt so much because I was going back to Boston. I didn't have a car anyway. I also had a $750 fine, and that did hurt. And it's a good thing I didn't need the money to go out to the bars because I wouldn't have had it. And so the story never came out about the liquor until much later at a family party when the statute of limitations had sort of passed, and it was funny at that point. That Sunday, my parents drove me back to college, and as you can imagine, it was not a pleasant drive. There was a fog of disappointment in that car, but they didn't lay it on too thick. They kind of, finished, turned the page, and said, "We just hope that you have learned your lesson." And I really had. That Thanksgiving, John bought a laminating machine on the United Airlines Sky Mall, and we made our own fake IDs. Piece of cake. Thank you.